says we are now live. Um, yeah. So, hi. I'm Meg. Um, yeah. So, a lot of notes. Mm. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, note on that, as I said to Paul, I am not at all opposed uh to subs. Um I can't work Funimation. It doesn't pause correctly. What? Really? Uh-oh. Sigh. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to hear Paul. Um I know. Like a very nice welcome. Why is it ay 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 ay. Yeah, I set it up exactly how I always set it up. So, oh, you know what it is? I think in Discord it gets really obnoxious when I don't do out the normal speakers versus the headphones on the Yeti.
You're just capturing the audio settings. It's fine. Be quick.
Yeah, wait, can you guys. Did you guys hear Paul say that?
Touch your eyes during
I mean, it's gonna take a hot minute.
It's
Don't touch your eyes during COVID, kiss. Oh.
hello. Test 1 2. I can hear the murder droid, says Catherine Hill. Totally not a cat.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. So, I'll skip over the nice intro that I gave, but was unheard. We started late. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Wait, really? Can't hear me yet?
Okay, well, so Sean should probably just restart because other people can hear you. So I
Sean, you being a
blame.
troll?
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
What?
What?
We should be looking at.
Okay, I can hear myself on the stream. I unmuted for a second.
Oh, good.
And
My
heard
camera
myself.
froze again.
Okay.
This has been really grumpy lately. And it looks always really good when I freeze. It's my favorite.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Good times, good times. This is, yeah. So we were talking about, oh, it's not even doing it, this dumb thing. Okay, remove.
Oh, yeah, it stopped.
Yeah, I fixed it.
It's because you have the paid version of XSplit, so.
Yeah. um, Subs versus dubs. That's what we were talking about. Paul heard English as I was watching the final seconds of the very last episode of the first season and heard dubs, which actually led me to a lot of questions that I wrote down about, I think, some of the translations, which actually now you should be able to answer. But I just don't know how to work Funimation. I prefer to hear things like natively.
So start talking about What? Explain what that means.
I prefer I would rather there's very very few instances in which I would watch a like dubbed version on purpose. I prefer subtitles and then
Okay.
hearing the original actors. But
Yes.
Funimation is just a pain in the ass.
Correct. So it's in the settings, which you might not even be able to see on the player, depending on what kind of like browser extensions you have. Sean had the same problem basically. And I think I had the problem a long time ago, and I've since remedied it. Where like if you have certain ad blockers or something, or like tracking
Oh,
things
I do
disabled,
have like two different layers of that turned on right now.
yeah, basically what happens is the Funimation player is like, "Hey, you're not giving us enough information, so I'm just not going to let you have all the functionality." And that's how you switch between audio languages and whether or not there's subtitles.
All right, good to know. Well, at least we're on the same page that had I been able to watch with dubs, I would have watched that way.
Yes. So there's that aspect of it. Second of all, like I would never watch dubs unless I had a very good reason to. So like if ever it comes up again, we should just be like, "Hey Paul, how do I watch this in subs?" Because I know you probably watched it in subs. That being said, like I'm not. There are issues with dubs. One is personal preference. I find that the quality of the voice acting is not as good typically
Yeah.
from the dubs. Like maybe that's not even fair. I think there are many more people in the sub industry than the dub industry, so I would say like you get a larger variety of voices and personality and acting out of subs
So, in a different
instead of
lifetime
dubs.
at two different companies, I spent much consternation over subs and dubs, depending on market and where they were going to. And all sorts of fun things would always throw digital assets into haywire over this stuff, but typically the preference tends to be that for kids shows they will usually like there's a higher chance that there's better quality dub versions because kids like can't necessarily read. But then anything that's like adult and over, it's you're gonna get at least subtitles, and then you're lucky if you get anything else.
So the way it seems to happen a lot of the times is maybe this is just a weird lag time thing. This is mostly of like my experience on Crunchyroll. I can't speak as well to Funimation, but what will happen is uh they'll start just with a simulcast of just having it subbed in multiple languages, and then like halfway through the season, if a show is popular enough, it'll start popping up with like a crap ton of dubs for it.
Yeah.
And then it also kind of like is an indicator of which markets, because
Yep.
I hate that Crunchyroll does this, but like I just checked the release calendar and they put each new dub version as its own release. So it'll just be like
That makes
five of the
sense
same show on
though.
a Thursday because they have five different versions of the dub. And I'm like, okay. It makes sense, but I'm like, can I just filter it from the languages I care about as opposed to
Yeah.
being like, there's Portuguese and Russian and German and Spanish and English. And I'm like,
Yeah,
cool.
I can't speak to how Crunchyroll and Funimation do distribution, but
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time on the damn subs and dubs. I'll just leave it at that. But
Yeah.
anyhow,
So
what?
circling back to the actual show,
Yeah,
the points I want to make is like, now I'm wondering if some of our comparisons are off just because I don't know how different the subs versus dubs could have been. Because, like, obviously, I assume it's the same in all the media you've worked in, that, like, they changed the meaning a little bit to fit the
oh
lips
yeah.
better,
No, that's what I
that
was
kind of
saying
thing.
before. Like I think people listening heard me say like I actually wrote some notes down that I was like these are very much English phrases and like English I don't remember the name of just like things you would say in English that I'm like, there's no way that this is the Japanese equivalent of probably what was originally said. And like there's at one point, like the blonde friend who I've dubbed Shaggy because he looks like Shaggy in one of the episodes, like same literal top and bottoms, not bell bottoms. I have a screenshot. he sings about them kissing in a tree, like
Oh yeah, no, that
Kissing.
did not happen
Yeah,
at
and I
all.
wrote that down because I was like, really?
Oh
Like, wow.
God.
And then there was a bunch of like slang that I was like, I'm really surprised that this has been translated over. Like, one of them was about getting lit, I think,
Yeah, there was none of that.
and like WTF and FTW, or for the win.
No.
And I was like,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, I'm glad that that happened. We figured that
Yeah, I'm
out.
glad it. I'm surprised you didn't mention it before. But yeah, okay. Well, we got that sorted out. The other thing, I'm now wondering if your interpretation of the characters would be different, uh, if you had seen the sub instead of the dub, just because like different voices, that kind of thing. Um,
Maybe, but what's funny is my very first note for episode 5 is she has a
okay.
good
Apparently, the
gremlin
sub did have a kissing
voice.
thing. Okay. All
Um,
right. I'll take your word for it, but okay. We're getting mixed signals. Apparently, I didn't remember some things correctly. Really? When? Show me the timestamp. I want to see how wrong I am. You're probably right. Okay. Maybe I'm just wrong about everything. Sure. So now that we have that out of the way, and we won't do this again, let's up into your actual impressions.
I really, I mean, we can go episode by episode later, but like, I was like, okay. We left off last episode where I was like, okay, I'm starting to be bought into them. And then you get to episode 8, which is the firework festival, which by far to me was like the best episode of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a lot of different reasons. And it literally ends with it, like when they're talking about the fireworks, and there's the line that started up, and then the other one is like, sure has. And I was like, great. So we're going to see them get together. And then that's why I said I was like angry. Like my notes get progressively less as the show went on, and I stopped taking pictures because one, it just like reached a natural rhythm, and there's like less stuff that was sticking out in just like a, interesting way to me. But I was just like, the beginning, like all I wrote for episode 12 was, damn it, summer homework. Because when she was like, oh, I can't see you anymore. And then it ends with just them like, they'll hang out again, but then nothing happened. I mean, stuff happened, but like, they're not together. So I was pretty mad and angry.
So have you now seen how wrong your prediction is? You're like, I think they're gonna get together and they're gonna kiss. And I'm like, okay, Meg.
Well,
Whatever you...
technically they kissed, right? Well, she kissed him.
I'm trying to remember
He
when,
was
if that happened.
sleeping or something. I forget which episode.
Oh, like she kissed him on the forehead or something?
Yeah.
Did she actually kiss him on the forehead? I thought she was like, what
Or
if
she
I
was
did?
going in
And
for a
then he
kiss,
grabbed
and then
her.
maybe he woke up and then he like wigged out.
He didn't wig out. He didn't even wake up, I thought.
No, he did as she was getting close to
He was
kissing him.
pretending to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't... Okay. I want to rewatch that. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I was a little bummed. I got really like, I got into it. A lot of the other stuff just calmed down. It felt like the show found its footing. And I was like, okay, dumbass cat. Like, I kept making notes about the stupid cat. And then it was like, I really loved episode 8. I took some, like, the flashback sequence was like super pretty and cute, and their time at the firework festival. I'm just like flipping through my notes. And then it was all for nothing. And I was like, man, I couldn't do another season of this.
Really?
I mean, maybe it would just be just like, because like by the time like, so episode 8, they it seems like they're really close to something happening. Episode 9, they kind of end up having a fight. Then they go on episode 10 to the island and vacation, and it just like, again, seems like we're all there. And then
That was a bad episode that I was like, you can skip that one.
No, I thought it was really cute. Then I was
Toturi.
like, we're back to the mom being.
That was basically like a tourism commercial for Toturi. It wasn't really a like that. That's an example of a filler episode, right? If you cut that out, you didn't lose anything on the actual story.
Oh, I think you could have cut out episode 11. Episode 11 was garbage to me. Like, when they're just like rock climbing, the mom's back in on it, then the cosplay. But like, episode 10 I thought was really good, like comparing and contrasting like the all the other couples, and like setting, it was doing a lot more foreshadowing, it was forcing the topic at hand, and seeing how they were reacting and
Foreshadowing
stuff. What?
What did it foreshadow?
I mean, I assume at some point this show they're gonna get together.
Oh, okay. I guess that counts as foreshadowing.
But
then?
like, she gets like the ticket at the shrine, the matchmaking shrine, and it's like something along the lines of like, you should be with a gamer and a loner and right in front of you. And so it's like, I don't know. I took more notes for episode 10, and then 11 it got progressively less, and then there's, like I said, one line for episode 12 where I'm like, but
I liked episode 12 and 11 was okay. No, sorry, I'm trying to remember because I think I rewatched the first third of 11 and then stopped for the rest. Because, like, do you want to talk about the mom?
that just got like,
Okay, you don't want to talk about the mom, but the mom's worth talking about.
awkward really quickly. And then I was just like, this just seems
What do you mean awkward?
like, just like, I was like, all right, she's just mishearing everything very conveniently. And then it's super weird, like, right, she's like watching her soap opera about like a huge age difference, and then he comes in and he's looking at the cat, but she's like, oh my god, he's looking at my boobs. And then I'm just like, where are we going with this, where she's like into her daughter's friend like that?
It's a joke.
But like, she seems to like continue to ask about it and stuff.
Well, she, like, flip-flops.
Yeah, but then so I like, one episode of it was fine, and then like when we came back to it with like them kneading the udon dough, I was like, okay, all right. They like started to lose my attention. Like episode 11 is where it just like hardcore started to lose my attention.
That's kind of fair.
But
I did like 12 still. I stand by that.
the last episode,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fine. I mean, they're gonna hang out again, which is good. But yeah, so it was cute and stuff, but I just wanted to see them get together.
All right, American.
But yeah, I took lots and lots of screenshots, although in the rush to go live, I definitely forgot to finish setting up this other scene. There's this other scene in which we're just not on it. Because I was trying to, like, appease Nick, so...
Would have been easier to watch week to week versus binging or worse. I mean, it depends on if we're doing an episode-by-episode breakdown versus, like... Yeah, so Welcome to Slice of Life, says Sunless, but also, like, the thing that is a trope in anime in general is, like,
to add the pictures in real quick.
I'll say blue ball, like, relationship stuff for,
Okay.
like, forever. And I don't mean just like slice of life, I mean anime relationships.
Okay.
That you have one of it's like typically one of two extremes. Either they're like flirting and then just never actually get together,
Okay.
or like it goes straight into like they boned or like made out and like are dating in like the first episode, and then like it continues from there. Very rarely do you have a show where they start out not dating and start dating, and like you see both halves of the show. And that's because it's, again, sort of like the format of the medium where I'm pretty sure it's manga. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
But by which I mean, like, what?
My camera just froze again. I'm fixing it. Yeah, so binging, it was fine from my perspective. I just decided I got the itch to finally dye my hair again in the middle of the day. And then, of course, I made it really complicated because I ordered three new colors. So I had poor time planning because it took longer than
Oh,
I
that part.
thought it would. Um,
Oh, is this because of your hair?
hmm?
Huh?
Oh, why?
Sorry,
Like, why?
I looked
Like,
away and was thinking about something else and heard you say colors and said that's why we're running late.
yeah. I, did, oops, I'm altering the wrong one. Yeah, I watched an episode and was like, I have time to dye my hair right now. And then I really didn't.
Yeah, classic mistake.
But,
Did chat freeze?
so, no, maybe they're just not chatting.
Oh.
Um, but anyhow, I took aggressive pictures at the beginning and just kind of some random thoughts. But then again, like it felt like the show got much more normal. It was just like, okay, the two. I thought also that the shopkeepers or the coffee shop owner's daughter and then Sakurai's best friend would get together. I thought that that was going to happen.
Again, that's an American stereotype thing.
I mean, I don't think so. Or like at least from some other media I've watched, like I don't think that that's just American.
Ah, fine. That's not just American, but also like I don't know.
I mean, everything was like open to happen again. Like
Sure.
um but I pulled up pictures. And so we can also kind of break down some of the episodes, but I mean, yeah, we already kind of jumped into like the straight review of just like well, I'll save up wrap up words or wrap up thoughts, which are also words. Um
Okay.
but yeah, so episode 5 notes range from like she has a good gremlin voice to why does the cat betray him in his dream. Um and just I wrote like a lot more quotes this time that I just thought were funny, which again could maybe not be what you were reading in text. Um Hardcore Gloom Lord was apparently his name. Um
Yeah. I mean, that didn't change because it wasn't subbed, right? That was
so
just on the phone, right?
yeah, like this whole thing with the cat dreaming, this like fucking cat. But I thought this picture was pretty good. I was like, yes, I want to see this cat not feeling good. I also
Okay.
thought I was like, poor teacher when Sakurai like was like, all that stuff is like for kids, and she's like, oh man, maybe my like plan was like for adolescents. I was like, oh, sad teacher. That's unfortunate. Um, I also really liked them like animating her like a weird predator and jumping across the screen with like her hands like she's gonna pounce. Um, and then I forget what the exact reference was of like I think it was just the friend was like trying once he figured out like Hannah and Sakurai were like in his mind he decided to make them a thing and he's teasing them and they're like panning over the vending machine and comparing the cans to what he's saying. I was like, what? All right, this can went there that the pastororo or whatever it is, the guava juice. I was like, that's a can. All right. Um, I also kind of just like the eye stuff. It really became more and more apparent with just like if the eyes are in literal shade, it can be a lot of like shadiness. Um, I'm not anti cat. I just don't like that cat. And I almost, for what it's worth, reached out to a friend at work who fosters bottle kittens, and I'm always commenting on her posts and like I've sent her things for her cats and I almost wanted to get just like a timestamp of her being like, yes, Meg likes cats. Because I knew I was
Like
gonna
you're
get
supposed to play into the drama.
cat
You're
crap.
supposed to be like, so what if I do? And then don't actually like clarify the statement.
No, but I like kitties. I like all animals.
Okay.
So I also kind of like this exchange between kind of like, what's a good way to describe them? Frenemies, I guess, with the same cause of trying to get them together. And also move this so it's, did that fuck it up too much? No. So where like her eye is like cleared, one's kind of opaque again, and then I just love when the eyeglasses glow and it's like full of power and anger, and you will do what I tell you to do. And just her shouting. I know some of this I've seen in like other animes, but I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then comes the chocolate mint part.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the chocolate mint part as someone who likes chocolate mint?
Do you like chocolate mint?
It's not important.
It is important.
Why
What?
is it important?
I want to know.
Why is your answering the question important to whether or not I like chocolate mint?
Do you think it's toothpaste?
No.
Okay, all right.
Do you think it's toothpaste?
No. But I did get...
I'm very confused right now.
What was funny is when Sakurai was like... So, I guess backstory in chocolate mint is I actually really started liking the flavor because my oldest sister liked the flavor. And when I was young, I just, like, idolized my siblings and whatever they liked, I wanted to like too. And so, we'd also do a lot of chocolate mint stuff on St. Patrick's Day, and then also at Christmas, right? Peppermint and mint chocolate. So it's been one of my favorite flavors for a long time. And I got really curious why this was such like a weird sticking point, and then her whole rant about like us Choco Mintos or whatever she called them, have like been in the shadow while we've been being judged while we love our chocolate mint. So then I Googled it, and apparently like seasonally I feel like here in the States, chocolate mint is much more associated with like you get peppermint chocolate stuff during Christmas, but there the oldest trend article I could find was from 2018, but then there's one written in 2019 and 2020 about like it's when it's in the summertime, people really like chocolate mint, and it's like a super in flavor now, and you can get chocolate mint everything. So gave a little bit more context to like I guess whatever she was talking about. But I also was equally mad at him calling it toothpaste, and I laughed when...
You understand the statement though, right?
What do you mean? Maybe no.
Like I don't think that all mint tastes like toothpaste, but I can understand why some people would have the association.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was all exaggerated, but I just also liked her calling his palate garbage. And then I'd written down really great montage. I think of her just like going through all the like heartache and things they've done over chocolate mint. It was random, but it was cute.
Sure.
Was there more I was supposed to react to it from it?
No, that was way more than I expected you to act. I only called it out because from the previous podcast, you'd made a comment about how you thought it was interesting how they just go on a tangent about something.
Yeah, that was one of the
tangents. There was
tangents.
going to be a 5-minute, monologue about how important mint is, and like, there's no real reason for it to be there other than some people like chocolate mint and some people don't like mint.
Yeah.
And the author probably put it in the manga because they like chocolate mint and they have this opinion, and maybe they got like in an argument with a friend and they're like, I need ideas for what I'm gonna put in the next episode. I'll do this.
I also wrote down slow clap translates because all that, like, she's like standing up in front of a crowd of people and it starts in on a slow clap. I was like, all right, okay, guess that's not just necessarily American. I didn't agree with his indirect kiss by them sharing food. I thought that was weird.
It's a very anime thing. Indirect kisses matter a lot.
All right, good to know. But I realized.
I don't know what to tell you. Like they care a lot about indirect kisses. I know, like me growing up, that people didn't really pay as much attention to that kind of stuff. Sure.
But yeah, that's all I had for episode 5. Otherwise, I can say now, like I still liked the episode. And now I understand, like there's really only 2 episodes I didn't like. But and then we get to the beach
The
episode.
last 2 episodes.
No, it was both of the mom episodes.
Oh, okay.
Um
I don't think I actually said my statement. Like I did think the mom as a joke got a little tired, but like whatever, she's there. Um, I like the idea at the surface level. I think they just dragged on the joke too long. Anyway, continue with your beach episode commentary.
I mean, I was warned. The beach episode was fan service, so I went in being
It
like,
actually wasn't that bad. A little
no.
bit. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot the changing room scene.
Oh, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, they were in a
That wasn't
locker
fan
room.
service, but it did make a joke about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I wrote. Let's see. I wrote down. There's more body shots and like other innuendos in this one. Um, I like the son dad narrator. And then right, they established that she's now working at the shop. And I felt really bad for him. I took this screenshot where they're
How'd you
like,
feel bad for him?
when they're just like, we're messing with you. We just want to make you angry. And he's like, what the fuck? So then they go from there to the beach. And like it was like, I guess the fan service, right, was like the other girl looking at her boobs, and then like there's like machine gun noises and bomb explosions as she then eventually calls them weapons. I was just
Yeah,
like,
again, I don't know if that's fan service, but yeah, it was obviously the butt of the joke.
um also
I guess the fan service would be him falling during the watermelon thing.
yeah,
That's
it
close
just
to fan service.
it was excessive on the like boobs and whatever. Like I expect that now for the show, but then I was like, man, like the other girl's cute. They're all cute. Like it's all like it's I don't know. I'm like they're all fine. She should feel fine about herself. Um the watermelon thing was a little weird. I don't know why they had to like bat at it. Where they
That's
took
the thing that
yeah.
they do. That's like I haven't done it in Japan. I should clarify. Maybe it's all made up anime thing, but it is a frequent thing that people go to the beach and get a watermelon and break it on the beach and like have to have you try and find the watermelon.
Yeah.
What Trevor's saying, the fan service is more just like that they're in bikinis, because frequently it'll be characters in a different setting where they're not necessarily dressed as revealingly, so it's like they'll go to the beach and you'll get to see the girls in bikinis. Woo! And
yeah,
like, that's the fan service.
They call it out later when they're dressing in cosplay for karaoke. I felt like it was kind of on the nose or poking fun at like what they were doing. But I did like that she was shouting, whoops, game moves at him. So I screenshot that.
It was kind of dorky and funny, but also I'm like, wow, okay, they're really going there.
Yeah. And then I'd also taken this picture too when I wish I could remember her name, but she's like, you don't want to leave her by herself, do you? Like, and then you just cut to this shot where it's just like all these dudes around Hannah. Like, I'm like, shit, okay, I don't know why, but that seems really aggressive. I'm like, is it just like women can't be left alone? Like, I didn't know really entirely what that was trying to convey. I guess I could take it very lightheartedly that she's really cute and attractive and that dudes just, want to go for her.
Yeah. What were you gonna take it as? Like they'll like abduct her or something?
Yeah, it kind of like initially came off as more aggressive.
Okay, I didn't perceive it that way. I perceived it entirely as like she's gonna get hit on by like everyone unless you're around her, so maybe don't leave her to fend for herself, because that's kind of shitty.
Yeah. So then they go to the house. This guy looks like Shaggy. Like
I Sure.
it's the same
why
coloring.
not?
I thought it was kind
Is it though? I get that it's green and it's brown. It's not the same shades or the same cut. I guess my beef now is you're gonna be like, okay, anyone who ever wears a green top and a brown bottom looks like Shaggy. And I'm like,
no,
no,
it's
I
like
guess.
like it wasn't that hardcore, but it stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was kind of funny when they were marveling at all the electronics of like the nice house. I've oddly watched a lot of videos about Japanese homes and apartments.
Okay, go on.
So some of the stuff I recognized a little bit. This one I don't, but I like from watching the videos, especially there was one I watched recently of like a really high-end Japanese apartment. And it was specifically pointing out all of these electronics like that they were looking at. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
It was just fancy electronics to me, but
Yeah. No,
I'm
like
glad you researched the topic ahead of time in preparation just for this episode.
no, it's I watch a lot of like vloggers and stuff who live in Japan and their experiences and moving over, and I really love that I have to keep fixing this damn camera.
Wait, what's a heated mirror?
I had a heated mirror where I used to live up north. That I don't think
What's a heated mirror? Please explain.
It just like you turn it on when you take a shower so it doesn't fog. So it just heats behind the mirror so that it's not foggy when you come out.
Okay.
But yeah, so what else did I have for this one? Oh, and then I thought it was kind of sad that they like did the horror games because we talked about it last time. Like I don't like horror stuff either. I didn't take any pictures about him falling on her and grabbing her boob and then being like, oh, it's like a jellyfish and she's just laying there like that. That's the only thing that was awkward of the whole episode is that I feel like she just kind of takes the like random hand grabs and there's not much of like, don't do that or maybe watch out or standing up for herself. So that's a little bit of a low point.
Yeah.
What's chat saying?
That was, yeah, no, I liked despite it being the beach episode, I thought it was a pretty good beach episode. I enjoyed the reversal of like the roles for the horror element. I thought the ending was pretty cute, even if a little cliche.
Yeah, I have a picture of them on the couch and stuff, and I thought that was sweet. Like, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna let. It's also just really weird. Like, I can't decide if they actually like each other or not. I feel like there's moments when they like each other, and then there's moments where they're just like. Not even because of other people. It seems just like they're really flip floppy both, or is that just how this is always
When do
portrayed?
they not like each other?
What?
When do they not like each other?
When they're arguing? And then, like, when people are like, oh, we thought you guys were a couple, or, like, anyone kind of points out that sort of stuff, like, they really wig out.
Yeah, because they're in denial.
All right. I mean, that I like it just... I'm trying to... It was more like, with him.
I guess? Explain. I don't know if I follow.
So... I was confused again, like getting to episode 8 where I wrote down, you will compliment her within an inch of your life was his instructions. And so then he says all these things about how cute she thinks she is and the fireworks thing and they have the throwback. And I was like, to me, it felt like he confessed that he liked her and that he was into her. But apparently that was not the case because then the next episode they're like totally arguing.
Yeah.
And then it didn't, like, nothing progressed. So I was like, okay, I don't know what's, like, I guess it's just, it's a
Does
really...
calling someone cute count as a confession now?
I don't know, just, like, I guess the whole context of that scene felt like, what else had I written down for it? He was, like, strained complimenting her. Because I felt like he didn't want to show his full card, but, like, cards, but it was still, like, it felt like he was showing his feelings for her. I don't know, because he, like, kept going on and on and on. But I guess that was more a joke of just, like, he did...
Because that was very cringe for me.
Really?
Yeah, that was a pretty cringe
The whole episode?
I'm trying to remember, is this also where they get, like, the flashback? The flashback part was really cute. I like the flashback part. But, like, him... specifically the sequence where he has to stand there and, like, just throw at her a bunch of compliments, and, like, the crowd gets, like, starts watching or whatever, and I'm like, oh god, this is weird.
Well, it started off fine, and then, like, he made it weird.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And
but also that's why it's sort of like, I would not count that as a confession. Like, he's intentionally doing this to try and get her to, like, return normal. So...
Oh, right, because, like, yeah, like, she was,
the subtext there is that, like, yeah, he probably might actually... Honestly, I don't think that was the best indicator that he actually likes her. There's a lot of other stuff that I'd say is a stronger indicator.
Yeah. Well,
but, like, yeah, so, like... Go ahead.
What else did I take pictures of? Oh, this was the only picture I took for episode 7, when she turned 20, which I looked up to confirm is, like, the drinking age, so it's, like, a 21st birthday here.
Yeah.
So I just have her rapidly...
I didn't look it up. I just assumed that it was being honest about 20 being the age.
Yeah. I missed that if they'd mentioned that. I just know that she's like, I'm turning 20. It's a big deal. And then she lures him to the pub. Oh, I did look up pet ownership in Japan. Because in the beginning, like, he calls her and he's like, I need you to be with me. And then they end up at the cat cafe. And I was just like, there's something else that sparked, like, me being like, what is the actual pet ownership in Japan? And per 2018, 73% of people do not own a dog in Japan, or a cat. They don't own any pet. 11.5% own dogs, and 10.1% own cats. Oh, no, that's what it was. Okay. It's because it's been so cat heavy. I was curious, like, are cats much more favored in Japan than dogs? That was actually the question I was trying to, like find the answer to.
Oh, why would you think that?
Because they're so heavily featured in the show. So I was like, maybe just there's more cat owners in Japan. I thought it was a fair enough thing to Google.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. This was originally a manga. One writer and artist is the entire plot of the show. So it needs one person to like cats for there to be a lot of cats in this show. Like, that's the way it works.
That's fine, but, like, there can still be things that, like, I don't know when and where might be cultural things that are influence.
Okay.
Versus what the author is deciding to do with it. So...
Okay, fine. Yeah, no, I can tell you that there are not that many cats, and I'm pretty sure it's just America where they're, like, people have pets a lot.
Yeah, like westernized countries, like England, Ireland, France.
Is
like,
it even
parts of Europe? Yeah,
countries.
I think so.
Maybe some parts of Europe, because other parts of Europe are not like that. If you go into Eastern Europe, dogs are not.
No,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, dogs. Western Europe, not Eastern Europe.
Okay, fine.
No, I actually oddly learned about a golden retriever rescue in Turkey a couple days ago. Different story though.
Yeah.
But there was her random comparison to petting other cats and then kind of feeling guilty or whatever about it and then being like, is this how married men feel going to strip clubs? I was like, okay, that's weird. What else did I have on this? And then
The part that's lost in translation there is God, I think they're called cabaret clubs. Like there's sort of a wider spectrum of that kind of service in Japan,
Yeah.
where it's like they're not even strip clubs. You'll just go and there's like nicely dressed women and they have to talk to you.
Yeah.
And there's no stripping. They're just pretty and have to talk to you and pour you drinks.
Yeah, that's like the old Playboy clubs here. They're not as
Okay. I
popular.
can't say I've heard about
Oh, Playboy
that
clubs
much.
were like,
Host clubs.
yeah, super big. Back like 60s, 70s, 80s started dying out in the 90s, and then there was like equivalent
Okay.
versions of
So
it.
I
But it
got
did
it. I
exist
wasn't
here.
alive for most of that.
Yeah. I just have heard about it. And then there's really good drunk history about someone infiltrating one of them, and then like Gloria Steinman or something. Anyhow, it's a thing, you can look it up.
Sure.
So
Classy Hooters.
I then also, yeah, Hooters is probably the most accessible at this point. And then like I thought it was cute him going through the like, what the hell do I give her? And I just wrote down, why is gift giving so hard to like a crush? And then I wrote down sweet was my last comment. I thought it was a sweet episode, but it was pretty straightforward. There wasn't like many picture taking except the one I did. But then it leads up again into episode 8, and then it just all fucking goes downhill after that. This is my first screenshot from episode 8.
You liked 8. Do you mean 9?
No, I mean 8.
Didn't you say you liked the firework episode? Okay, so what you're saying is... Continue. You're losing me, honestly.
Episode 8 is the firework episode.
Correct.
Yeah, I like it.
I thought you had said earlier that you liked that episode, and now you're saying that you don't like that episode.
No, I do. I'm saying the show went down after episode 8 for me.
Okay.
But like, even though it was supposed to be a funny, like a whatever moment with the like gun thing in her boobs, I was like, I feel this. When I'm eating popcorn, shit always gets stuck. It's a pain in the ass. I really liked her pointing and yelling at him to go do nice things. I thought this was funny too, where like you can barely see his head as he's sitting on the bench. Or not the bench. They're laying on she's sitting on the bench, he's laying down because he like hurt his head after she slapped him. And
lap
then
pillows are a big thing in Japan.
What?
Lap pillows.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
I have seen those.
I don't know if that's a technical term. Lap pillow. Okay. Maybe that's just like the awkward. That's the thing that happens. The trope in anime. Yeah, no, I think it's a thing. Yeah, it's even a TV tropes. I got it. Nailed it. All right.
But then yeah, I took a lot of pictures of the flashback. I thought it was. I really liked the colors in it. I thought it was cute. He looks more intense here, but like the sky is really nice behind him, and it was just like a pretty flashback sequence. And then the damn cat is in it too, as like a kitten.
Wait, what? I did not notice that.
Oh, really? Yeah, the cat both shows up here at the pool.
Okay, sorry. I might have.
And then
I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it's the cat. If it is the cat, it might be.
Yeah, no, it's the cat, because then when they're at the firework festival, which I just took a picture of this because I just thought it was done nicely for the show. He makes one of his dumb cat faces, but he looks younger. I did not screenshot it because it's a dumb cat.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I think that's... Oh, there was a screenshot. I actually have to upload a few more. And by a few, I think just like one more. Oh, no, I have one per episode. No, that was kind of it. I didn't take any for episode 9.
I don't get why you hated episode 9.
So actually, I realized the mom. Wait, no. It's episode 9. All you can pet cats. That was cute. Yeah. And then they were going on about his looks again. So I was also kind of curious what your take would be on an equivalent of like if this guy was portrayed in American media. What do you think is the American equivalent of him being so like scary looking, because that's what people always talk about. Like their first impression of Sakurai is always that he's scary and intimidating. And I'm like, would that be like a punk rocker here? What comes across that same way that I think he's coming across this way in the story?
Which guy would play it in the live action remake? Again, it's a tropey thing. The comparison that they're making is like A, he looks like he's in a gang, or B, he looks like he's in the Yakuza. So
Okay, the mob.
if you're gonna go for a comparison, it would be someone in the mob, like maybe like an Italian with slicked back hair or something,
Okay.
and a certain look, and it'd be like, oh, is he in the mafia? Question mark.
Okay.
But not even that. It's just like someone with like a resting bitch face kind of thing, right? Like that's just A, a thing, and B, a trope. I don't know what to tell you. Some people just look angry.
Yeah. No, I just was like, okay, we're still on this point. Like, why do they keep bringing it up? So then I like wrote down the mom doing what?
Oh, are you still there?
Yep,
Hello?
I'm still here.
Okay. Like. I guess you're asking why they keep repeating it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have like a good explanation, but it's sort of exploring. I mean, it's having fun with and exploring the angle of like a parent meeting someone who Sheath is like, oh, what's the relationship? Even though they think they're not dating. I don't know. Like, I guess they didn't have to technically show the scenes where they're repeating and rediscussing some of the things, but I thought that was fine.
Sean has a good point of like, I feel like they use the angry eyes thing as an excuse for why he's single and a loner, given that he's supposed to be pretty hot and nice. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they constantly are like, oh, he is attractive. It's weird. They'll have shots where like girls are clearly into him, but then there's also this impression of like, ooh, he's scary. But
how often do they have girls are into him? Question mark.
They had it early. They make reference of it at least 2 different times when he's in the cafe. When they first introduce him working there, and there's girls at the register like ogling him. And then also when the mom comes to the cafe and the daughter of the shop owner like mentions how great it is having Hana there, but then also that like basically Sakurai is attractive.
Sure. So I mean, like that's kind of the point, though. It's like on first impression he seems intimidating, and in most instances you wouldn't have a reason to know him beyond that. And then like if you happen to be in the same swim club as him or working with him at a cafe that you get to know him long enough, you'd be like, oh, actually, once I get past like this intimidating face.
It was just more that at episode 9 they were still making a deal about it more than anything. I was like, okay, we got it.
Sure, but like they're getting the mother's reaction.
Yeah.
Like the parents' reaction. How would the parents react if you brought this man home?
That's fair.
With scary eyes.
Well, she's flipped right from the scary eyes to like, maybe this boy wants me, and I'm gonna think about that possibility.
I mean, yeah, but also she's like, I don't want to, kind of. I mean, there's a little conflict in there, but she's like, this is wrong.
Yeah. And then I was like, is the mom single? Like, they never mention Hana's dad.
Yeah. Unclear.
Yeah, they make, because she does ask, like, at the cafe when it seems like it gets cleared up. They're like, no, he's not into older married women, because that's how she asks it. And then I had the question marks, which Sean already answered in chat, of like, was for the win and what the fuck translated. And he said it was in the
Apparently, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, then the vacay episode, which I liked and you didn't. Oh, I had one picture.
Wait, did I change your mind on episode 9, or are you still like, no, that episode was garbage?
It's episode 11, I think, is garbage.
Episode 11 is one of the weaker episodes. I think 10 is weaker, but 11 is one of the weaker episodes.
I
liked the bouldering scene. That was fun. I liked how the episode started, although I'm blanking on what it started with.
Episode
10
or
him,
11.
like lecturing her on like having to clean up the mess that she leaves, and then her being like, "Oh, but I was gonna cook dinner for us."
Yeah,
like that was cute and
that
like
was
nice
cute.
Character development. You're like, "Oh, look, they make a nice, like they help compensate for each other's flaws."
Yeah.
The bouldering one was nice because it's like she got a little like angsty and like jealous, kind of like, I don't know. I thought that was nice.
No,
the mom part needing the dough, I'm like, but like besides and the karaoke thing was fan service, sure.
Yeah, because at one point the other girl was like, at least when she was in the Playboy bunny outfit, she was like, at least she has more on than like a swimsuit. And I was like, well, okay.
I mean, technically correct.
Yeah, technically. But yeah, I think we already kind of discussed the rest of it, so it's
there's when you say the rest of it, do you mean the last episode?
I mean, I think again, my notes just like, so episode 10 I had a bunch. I thought the vacation was cute. I was happy that he likes coffee ice cream. And then I was just like, what happened? Because I'm curious, because the dub, what happened with the scene where Ami makes fun of Uzaki for only using his accent when she's around him? Like, that might be like my favorite part of the whole anime, and maybe it didn't even make it into the dub. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, okay.
Was that in the vacation episode?
It was in the last episode.
Oh,
episode 12.
I watched that very rushed.
Okay, so you might have just not.
I might, yeah. I was trying to do like 3 things at once, like setting up the stream and like, yeah, eating and whatnot.
Okay.
But I wrote down eating it up as emotion, like, is kind of weird. I thought it was funny, like, that there was a notice that they added towels for the onsen scenes, at least for some of them. Like, mine had a thing that was like, towels added for film production. Was a note on the screen, but then
because I'm assuming it's an actually famous onsen and you're not allowed to wear towels.
Yeah, because I was also surprised, like, my understanding of onsens is it's male or female only. You're basically naked the whole time. And so I thought it was weird when they're in the steam bath and it was co-ed. I was like, either that's you can go in there together.
Bath.
What?
They were steaming.
Well, I don't know I've never been to an onsen, so I don't know, like, how strict it is.
I haven't either. I've only seen stuff in anime. But, like, my point is, like, they're not in the bath. They're just in, like, a sauna.
Yeah, and I think from just videos I've seen, I thought it's, like, segregated almost from the moment you walk in to when you leave.
Okay.
Nick
Honestly,
says...
I haven't even seen that many saunas. So.
But... yeah, I thought episode 10 was cute. It's funny you didn't like 8 and 10. That's like when it's like super cute and romantic.
No, I liked 8. 10 I didn't like the most, just because there's lots of like, let's have a tour guide come up and explain the joys of Toturi.
I just ignored all of that. I was like, whatever.
I get that you ignored it, but like, that was the majority of the episode. They're like, here, the sand dunes, they range from this distance to this distance, and you can blah, blah, blah. Here's this circular building that was historically built for this reason, and it was going to be torn down, but then they turned it into a museum for anime. Let's look at a bunch of figurines from anime. Here's this alley where there's like a bunch of, God, I'm blanking on the word right now.
I guess I took it as
Yokai?
build up to lead to right, because the other two characters kept being like, wait till you find out what this island or like this town's really about. And so that like they could go plausibly through most of their experience there and not like, and it was just kind of happenstance that they kept seeing these couples posing, and then, you know, the comparing and contrasting of like them eating like the little that fish treat versus like the couple that's all in love, and then, you know, doing the tourist stuff, but then getting to the end with those shrines, but then they're like, what is this place about? I had no idea. So I took it as a little bit of like a plot point thing there, less about the actual things they were saying, but more just like these characters don't know what they're in for.
Okay. I'm making a face because like some of your previous commentary about like, why do they have this shot? It seemed like a waste of time. And now you're like, I think all the additional historical stuff was necessary to pad out like the episode for the build up of like the reveal that really they're in a honeymoon location. And I'm like, okay.
Those are completely different comments. There were still plenty of throwaway
guess.
B shots that I just didn't capture or write down.
Sure. Whatever.
Those are completely different things.
I mean, okay. Do you want to explain how they're completely different things?
I'm talking about one moving an actual like plot point forward, and I just like laid out with like they're including this tourist stuff as like they're there and unaware, right? Versus like
Okay.
showing a random mid shot of someone when they're speaking, when the shot actually has nothing to do with what they're speaking about, and you're not on any point of action.
Sure. I understand how they're technically different.
I guess I don't.
Metaphorically, I'm still like.
I guess I don't
like,
understand the point you're trying to
you're
make.
establishing, yeah. In my mind, it's still like you're arguing that they're establishing that they're at this location and don't realize, and do that by discussing a lot of like the location and the things you can see in the history.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I guess they're different.
B shots are usually
All right.
used when like if I was producing us doing back and forth two heads gets really boring when people are speaking, so you tend to put in visual that adds to what is being discussed or as a breakaway, so that even if you're still listening, there's something like visually engaging with what you're watching. That's one of the reasons why I bring pictures in, but it's also a nice point of reference so people can see what we're talking about. But it's also a like way to make it more visually interesting to look at. And so I have found some of the choices in the series for B-roll or B shots to be a little random to what the scene is about or the subject matter at point. Versus like them putting in what you could call B-plot, maybe. Which it felt like it was...
B-roll was probably the wrong term to use. I will admit that.
Whereas this plot, like the tourists, the whole thing, right, is like they won this trip. They're excited to go. They were going to go as friends. They have the other two people tagging along who like they for some reason have this knowledge, but the other people don't. And so, and I don't know how common it is. I don't know if it's like if this episode was set in like the Poconos or like a Vegas honeymoon chapel or something, like if it would just be like, wow, the main two characters are really stupid, that they don't understand where they are. Like I don't have enough cultural context to know if like the audience is in on it from the get-go. I have some assumption that probably that would be the
I
case.
mean, maybe, but also like actual foreshadowing. Like the first time that the two friends hinted at it, I'm like, okay, fine, it's gonna be a honeymoon destination. And then they keep egging on about it for like 15 more minutes, and then be like, haha, gotcha. And I'm like, didn't see that coming. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think everything about plot is about the surprise leading up to like a reveal. Like it's more watching.
Sure.
I think they were trying to build like comedic suspense, and I think in this case it probably felt just flat.
Okay.
Does
But
that
I
make
mean, like,
sense?
they also did all the yaokai. Am I getting that right? Yokai. Sorry, my dyslexia is kicking in. Uh, the alley of yokai was like after too. Like there was a lot of just sightseeing in Totori even after the reveal of like we're in Totori, which is why I'm like, it's a lot of like fillery stuff. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I think that's where like, and maybe it was that episode where like after they exchange the things and they realize where they are, and then the matchmaking thing happens, and then it's like they're beating what is like it's just dead at that point. It's like they didn't take it anywhere else. So I agree with you, and I think that's where I started to like lose a little interest because I was like, they're not gonna get together, are they? Like this would have been the moment. It would have been the moment after the other thing. This shit ain't happening. And then I think I just got more annoyed watching episode 11 and 12.
Why? Okay. Why do you think it's not happening?
I don't know if it's um what do I want to say? If that's just like the structure of how these shows go, which it sounds like you were kind of saying earlier. Like you said that they just like
They
drag it out and
drag
out
it
and out.
out. Implications that eventually they will get together. And the other thing to keep in mind is like they've been not dating for like 6 months, maybe even not even that.
Yeah.
She's in her sophomore year, he's in his junior year. Like they basically started hanging out at the start of the school year, and the summer break has ended. So it means they're like 2 trimesters in or something, or maybe only even one technically. Like I'd have to check a calendar and be like, how does this work? But like, yeah, like winter hasn't even happened. Like, so
Right.
they've maybe been hanging out for like 4 or 5 months. So I'm not about to be like, they should have kissed by now. How dare they? Right? Like, I'm like, okay, yeah.
No, I just think that there's a lot of good moments where they could it just seemed like the show was leading there, but again, you told me that this is typical where it just gets dragged out. So,
Well, yeah, it's like edging. It's like romantic edging.
but yeah. So that was season 1. I don't think I have
Also,
many.
like, yeah, you have to keep in mind that they're probably gonna start dating, or sorry, I shouldn't say start dating, because that's very presumptuous of me. They might actually kiss in season 2, but they want to get a season 2, and you can't have them kiss or start dating in season 1 if you want to get a season 2. Like that's how this.
I know. I think Lil had a really good comparison with New Girl, and I mean, it's one of those things like people love a will they not plot. It happened in Friends, like it dragged out in New Girl, like
And this is why I hate New Girl in American media, because I enjoyed New Girl up until they're like, okay, like we played around with them flirting for like a whole season, and then the second season, like we had them finally start dating or whatever, and now we have to break them up because we have to keep like the show going and like make things dramatic still. and like the characters suddenly like had their personalities start flipping around, so like you could make dramatic stuff start happening. And I'm like, I hate American television.
But I fully could see that happening with this show too.
But why would it?
So I guess it's just like, as you called it before, it's just like constant blue balls about them getting together, and that's like their show.
No, it's whenever the author decides they'll start dating.
Okay.
And then like it's a question mark of how long the show will go on. But I would be severely shocked if he decided to have them break up for some bizarre reason. If there was going to be a love triangle or like a rival of some kind, they would have appeared by now. It's not that kind of a show.
So how long do you think the show would go? Like, didn't you say the manga?
Again, it's not it's based on a manga. So it's how long does the manga go? We don't know.
Do all shows go as long as the manga though, in general? If they bother to put it into production?
They generally are far behind the manga.
Okay.
And like this is where like Game of Thrones is very relevant to me. Very few anime ever deviate from the manga, mostly because like generally there's not enough motivation to make enough seasons to catch up with it. And like there's no reason to go past it except for the very popular shonen is where you start getting into this shitty territory of like, if you're someone who watched Bleach or whatever, they'll have an entire season of just made up content because it was a popular IP, and they're like, we need to keep making these shows, and the manga hasn't like developed enough. So like when Game of Thrones happened and like it started getting past the books and started getting shitty, I'm like, yeah, I know this happens all the time in anime. I'm like, okay.
Got it.
But like overwhelmingly, especially for this genre, like you're never gonna see a slice of life go past the manga because there's not enough demand for them to produce it for that to ever happen.
How true to this, like, do you, like, if I went and got book 1, would it just be effectively a blueprint of the show? Or the show's a blueprint of the book? Is it pretty 1-to-1?
It depends on the genre. The main difference tends to be pacing. And I'd have to double check. But like I would imagine there's a lot of parallels in terms of the scenes.
Okay.
Like what is more likely is like some stuff does happen. It depends on the genre. They might rearrange some of the order of the scenes. They might skip some things. They might decide to make some things flashbacks or occur different times chronologically. And then like, yeah, there's also like on the more wild end, like they might add or remove characters or do some crazy shit. But I'm assuming this one's pretty 1-to-1. I don't know that for certain. But based on the genre, I don't know why they would do that either. Because like that's what it is. It's just like a weekly comic about this awkward like couple who's not dating officially, but they're very kind of adorable together. Like they argue like they're a couple. They hang out all the time.
Yeah.
But neither of them want to admit it.
She has stuff at his place. I was gonna
mention tsundere.
Uh-huh.
Which you probably don't know what tsundere is.
Mm-mm.
Tsundere, I think Soon. God, I hope I don't mix it up on air. Soon is like mean or angry, and then Dere is being like lovey-dovey.
I'm also gonna grab my medicine real quick. Well, you
fine, go do that.
I just have to grab some pills.
Hi, chat. How are you doing?
I'm back.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, it just was right off camera. I just forgot to have it closer.
Tsundere is a Japanese term for a character development process that depicts a character with a personality who is initially polarized, warm, soft, cold, temperamental, hot-headed, and sometimes even hostile before gradually showing a warmer, friendlier side over time. So that is the trope. I'm not saying either of them are tsundere, but like this type of thing in anime and manga is like much more common of a character who like on the surface is trying to be like they're being very secretive of their actual feelings is sort of what I'm getting at.
Got
like
it.
That being a thing is very common. And both of them are very much being dishonest with their feelings.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what makes it like cute, because if they're honest about their feelings, there are also shows like that where like the two characters are like, let's date, and I'm like, okay, and then they just date and be cute and date. Like that's another, like, if I could name 3 or 4 anime right now, they're that but you're very rarely both, because it's hard to be both, right? Once you get past this phase, like, you can't go back and be like, oh, let's be like awkward about our feelings again.
Yeah, no, it's that sweet stage of a relationship where it's exciting and you're figuring it out, but like I think I would watch it with them still dating though, and like doing and exploring things, but I guess also like really the dynamic of most of the episodes is unspoken feelings. Someone seems to be feeling it more than the other, and then boobs. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. Sorry, I was mostly watching or reading Sunless. Uzaki is a believable tsundere to me, and I'm like, yeah, because like basically she subconsciously clearly likes him and has like had a bit of a crush on him, possibly for a while, and just has not bakadere. Yeah, that's probably it. She's too stupid to realize she likes somebody. Yeah, and that's fun. And yeah, it's like if they came out that they were in a relationship, it would just change the premise of the show and like the dynamic a lot.
Yeah, I just thought they would pivot, but I guess not. So season 2 will be based off the manga,
I
and
assume.
is there like a season 2 announced?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like relevant is, I think this came out last season. There are not as many shows this year. It's becoming slightly more common that a season 2 will get announced towards the ending of a show. I think that Uzaki did as well as it did is partly because Sugoi Dekai got memed so much, and partly because it was a slow season, and partly because there was so much controversy, which got enough people to watch the show.
What was the controversy?
People got really upset about how disproportionate of a character she was.
Oh, she's short and had big tits?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not saying that many women look like that, but there are women who do look like that.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Basically, they're like, because there's also a thing in Japanese anime and manga called a loli,
Yeah.
which is different than like Lolita, which is like the sexualization of actual minors and children, and that's kind of messed up. And like, I think there was some of that of like, she looks like she's, you know, a teenager, whatever, and they just threw on giant tits, and like, I don't know what people are actually getting angry about. People got angry about it.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was she probably has back problems, but I like know people who have that physique, in at least in the States. But all right, slice of life.
But they're also in Japan.
Yeah. So slice of life equals no pivots, no unexpected plot points. Got it.
It has to go a long time. So like a show that I know does it, I believe, and maybe if Trevor is in chat, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but Teasing Master Takagagi-san starts with them in like middle school, and it goes on long enough that they start to get into like high school. And I think in high school they actually start dating. And it might even like occasionally there are ones where like they end up getting married and like have a kid, but like there'll also be less of that. Yeah, it's just like it's a jump because it's really changing what the premise of the story is.
I'm bummed because something you just said.
Yeah, see, currently in the manga they're adults and have a kid together, which is very cute and adorable, but like, yeah, that's very much a progression. But like, it's possible it'll happen one day, but we're probably still very far away.
Totally forgot I translated the lyrics of the intro.
Oh, okay.
Let me see.
Like, you actually translated it, or you just looked it up?
I looked up the lyrics to the show, and there was no English available. There was like how you would like enunciate it, and it was like phonetically spelled in English. I guess so you could sing along with it. But I did find the kanji and I threw that into Google Translate. So let me see if I can add this window real quick.
Stop. Go ahead, continue.
Here we go. All right. It's gonna, here, it can live over here. Maybe. I'll zoom in real big for the people in the chats. All right, so I really want you to invite me. I can't think of that at all. No, annoying, that is also one something negotiation. I'm asking you about today's schedule. Something it. Obviously, this is rough. If you can come with that attitude, I'll do something. That's it. It's okay to think it's ugly. But someday if you think Uzaki is good, problem 9. For the time being, if it's no good, I called out, then come on smoothly. That it's pretty cholo. I'm always lonely. Come over here a little more, a little longer. Go back and forth, push and pull. How many times will it repeat? That's my question. The whereabouts of my feelings are unknown. Soothing and refreshing, feeling refreshing, happy. It's not rubbing, it's all serious. I'm simply enjoying it now, joy. It's a relation of coexistence and co-prosperity, but in bargaining seesaw game, whimsical, waiting at will. Oh, I want you to invite me. I can't even think of it. It's so nice. Make fun of each other and play with each other. Have a nice day.
I got kind of confused because I realized that the screen I'm watching of you highlighting stuff is the delay. Okay, so just like the lyrics, or was there a specific joke that you wanted to call out?
No, I just wanted to. I was curious. Okay. I was like, I bet this song relates, but I don't know how much it relates, and it fully relates.
Yeah, it either goes one of two ways. Either they produce the song specifically for the show, or it has very little to do with it because they just pick up a song.
Really like this. Go back and forth. How many times will it repeat? The whereabouts of my feelings are unknown. Have a nice day. But it seems like it's a cute song.
I'm just thinking through. Yeah.
Like from...
I'm sorry, I was just thinking back to 3 episodes in, they established that they're going to hang out a lot and they might like each other, but they're not going to admit it. And then they just ride it out the whole season. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. 3 episodes in, establish what the relationships are, correct, and then ride it out. Yep.
Well, I mean, now I got one under my belt. Should we get back?
Oh, yeah, we have to do. Did we do technically final thoughts? Or
no, we should do that now. I'm looking back at the beginning of my notes. Just she will be annoying. It's like my first note. I thought overall it was
quick on that note. I really want you to watch. I don't care which episode, and maybe not even the whole episode, but watch some of the show in Japanese and ping me directly. You don't have to tell everyone. I want to know what you think of the voices in the Japanese and if that makes you feel differently about the characters. Because when you said that you didn't like Uzaki, I assume you meant partly because of her Japanese voice actor, which grows on you, in my opinion, throughout the season. But the fact that you had a completely different voice actor, I'm just I wonder what it's like.
I didn't like her because I thought she just her actions were annoying. I thought she was just super aggro that first episode. And then she
was super aggro the first episode, which is why I'm you need 3 episodes to let it.
It took me a lot longer before I was cool with her. But overall, it was cute.
It's almost like it reflects how she's perceived by the guy in the show or something.
I think I get a letter. I feel like I have a better point of reference now for Slice of Life. And that they'll drag that shit out. Although, I guess spoilers from the future, they do finally get together and have a baby.
No, that's a different.
Oh.
Completely different show.
Okay, then JK, manga. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know because it's still in development. It's active.
I thought
there's only 5 volumes. It started in December 1st, 2017.
How long's like a typical volume? Would it be equivalent to a season or like a couple episodes? Does it depend on the show?
Sorry, say it again?
Like,
The reason why it's hard to say is partly because I don't read a lot of manga. It's also because like those are volumes. So what happens in manga is generally there'll be like a weekly manga like magazine or something, or monthly that it's in, and it'll just be like a short chapter, and then after like there's been enough time, they'll put all the chapters together in a single book. And like that's a volume of which there's 5.
got it. Okay.
For like content wise, like it's very, small slices, and that's why I'm like, yeah, there's a bunch of short scenarios with like some gags and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's because it's more like a comic, because it is a comic.
Yeah,
3
I don't
chapters
think...
equals 1 ep for like shonen normally. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I understood how close something like this might follow source material in that way.
There's sort of very little reason to change it. I mean, that's not always true. Sometimes there's reason to change it, but a lot of the processes that are like, we know the manga is doing well, and there's we're confident there's a demand for it. So, why would they change something that works, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other part of this that I can't even remotely begin to appreciate or analyze, in the sense of something that is like a book here typically translates very different to on screen, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't have any sort of reference for like manga to anime. And if it's done traditionally, like if people view that as like it's typically done well, or it's not, where you hear a lot of people here be like, just read the book, it's better. It'll always be better than the movie.
Okay, so first of all, yes, manga readers will tell you read the manga, it's better.
Okay.
That does not change.
Okay.
You still get that a lot. Like what really goes down is like pacing issues. So for example, this year, Tower of God and something High School, 2 webtoons were made into anime this year, and webtoons, like, they were like hundreds of episodes long or something, and then they condense it into like 12 episodes, and it just like, you're like, why are these characters doing this? I don't understand their backstory. And then everyone in the comments is like, just read the actual webtoon so you actually understand what the fuck is going on, because they skip like past most of it. So yeah, bad adaptations totally is a thing that happens. But like in this genre, I don't know. And then also the other thing I was gonna say is I feel like a lot more changes happen in film and to some extent TV because you need it to hit a bigger audience. Is like the lazy way of explaining it. Is that maybe fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So because my general understanding is anime is cheaper to produce because you're not like that's just my understanding. It's cheaper to produce. That may be wrong. But my understanding is anime is cheaper to produce than doing actual film with actual people and doing all the acting and stuff. And for that reason, you can get a lot weirder stuff because they don't have to hit as large an audience.
Sure.
That's about all I got.
Okay. Yeah, it's just
And like from watching a lot of anime, you get a lot weirder things, which is partly why I like watching anime.
That's fair. No, it's just interesting to see a different medium transcribed, and also, but good to know that people people will still be like, read the book. That's a better way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's your overall take on the show?
I like the show. Right, I can actually talk about it this way. So this is one of the shows that I flagged as a show to watch the whole season when it was premiering. I watched it, liked it the whole way through. There was, as I mentioned, like 1 or 2 episodes I'm like meh, but like compared to everything else that was available in the season, it was definitely one of the shows that I was looking forward to every week. Which like that isn't me saying that like this is a show that you must watch. That's me saying that like it was a good way to fill time while I like eat a meal or something. I was like, okay, I enjoy this, like it'll make me feel happy kind of thing. So like there's the bar. My concern with having us do this as a first episode is because like one, like slice of life isn't for everyone. I should also clarify that like there are many other types of slice of life. This is more rom-com than slice of life.
Okay.
It gets really hazy. There's some slice of life where it's just like we're students in high school in a club and we go to the club room and shenanigans happens, and like that's the entire season. And there's no real conflict, kind of, and there's no character development, and it's just that's it. That's slice of life. This one's like actually like you can see the romance building, and I understand that it doesn't go as fast as you may like, but like it really lets you just continue to play around with the like this awkward tension moment of the relationship. I like rom-com in general. I would not say this is my favorite rom-com that I've ever seen, but like I will enjoy watching a second season of it as well, probably, unless it somehow gets dramatically worse.
Yeah,
what else is there to say? I like the dynamic of kind of loner guy and annoying girl. I have this in tweet form somewhere. Hold on.
Also, Sean and Nick, I'm never
tweet,
putting chat on screen. I think it looks gross.
No, it's got to be here somewhere.
But I'll look into OBS.
Oh, okay, I have it slightly different. It's reclusive pessimist and bold optimist is a ship, which isn't quite this. It's kind of like grumpy guy and like trolley ball of energy, but like that's one of my favorite ships. Yes, I like that kind of dynamic.
The show made me laugh a lot. There's a lot of moments where I just like I laughed out loud, or maybe not always fully laughed, but like chortled or kind of snorted, and that was, I enjoyed that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious as we watch more, and I don't know where we're even going next, what the next show is. I'm curious for my own journey if I will continue to consume any anime after all of whatever we end up watching. Will there be things I come back to? Will I be made like this is like a genre I just always want to hit up? Like will I then start considering it for like any movies or TV shows I watch? Or will I be like, that was interesting, that was like a class? So that's also something that's kind of curious for me on the line.
Yeah. Which is really kind of where I'm like, I'm not sure where we're going to go next. And I saw some people chime in chat with that, but also like, what is your opinion on what we should be doing in terms of next anime?
I'm open, I guess. I'm still very in like a student mode of I'm just curious, here to absorb, be sponge, see where I like it, see what stands out to me.
We're not doing JoJo.
What?
I'm just responding to Kat. We're not doing JoJo. Especially not this soon. JoJo is something we could do like maybe like I'd really want to be at least 15, maybe 20 animes in before we do any JoJo.
So JT
Sean says good anime movie.
Tenchi Muyo.
Tenchi Muyo. Who wants to do Tenchi Muyo and why?
JT. That was from last time.
It's because he likes it. It's a nostalgic show. I'll give him that. Like oh wait, actually no. I was thinking I like Yu Yu Hakusho. Tenchi Muyo, I never really understood. Well, in hindsight, I understand, but when I was watching it as a kid, I was like, "What is this? Just put on Dragon Ball Z already." We're not doing Tenchi Muyo. My take is Kimiwa are erased. Okay. So I believe that films are being suggested in the chat because then it would give you more opportunity to discuss film concepts, which I'm not against, but it's also a question of like, what do you want to do?
I don't
Because
need
if
I don't need film concepts to talk like animation, like visual story, so that doesn't make a difference to me.
I get that. The thing is, like, we could do a lot of different anime. What is going to be different? So like, here's things that come to mind. We could we could keep watching shows until we find one that you really like. That's one avenue. Another avenue is like we could just explore a bunch of genres where like the techniques, sure, you get some differences of like, oh, this is a shonen, this is a whatever, like in terms of the story, but in terms of how the actual show is presented, I don't know that they're technically that different, other than an action anime will have more like stuff happening because it's an action anime. Like there's obviously different art styles and that kind of thing, but I don't think I'm qualified to speak to that. I don't know if you feel qualified to speak to that. And then like if we were actually trying to get into real like, does this have good cinematography shit, like I do feel like we'd have to dip our toes into anime movies, because anime movies in my opinion are very different than normal anime.
Sure, that makes sense.
I mean, which is sort of similar to how like TV shows are different than film, right? Like film is trying to do these big fancy things because they have a budget. Like I would say that the animation is almost always way better in anime movies, and it's like I wonder why, because it's a movie and not a
my opinion,
not a show.
I think I lean into just like how I've explored different genres in general, with even within like film or TV, is getting exposed to a bunch of different types and then also leaning into classics. And there can be traditional classics and there can be modern day classics. Or like whatever the modern day is like really good. Like this show came out in the last couple years. It's what everyone talks about. And then there's stuff that's like withstood the test of time.
Hold on, I need to respond in chat. I guess I can just say,
yeah.
You only need to watch Death Note until certain character thing happens, and then the show isn't worth watching anymore. Okay, I said it. You know what I mean. Anyone who's seen the show will know exactly what I mean. Okay, so your statement was you'd want to explore different genres. Is that roughly?
And classics.
What I think you said. In classics.
Like classics versus like what has been really good recently.
One, because watching classics in anime can be hard. Like if you think it's hard to go back and watch like Casablanca, it is hard to watch certain anime classics.
I don't think
partly
watching
because
Casablanca
the resolution is different
hard.
and they have fewer frames and like it's very different. And also they're generally longer. If we're gonna be like, oh, let's watch like Dragon Ball Z, which is a dangerous statement. Yeah,
it's hard to.
Which is almost why I. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's hard. Oh, good. My camera stopped again. It's hard to phase me when it comes to if something's old versus modern. Like that doesn't really matter to me.
I'm not saying if it matters to you. I'm saying it matters to me.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Trying to make me watch an anime that's going to be in like 480p or like 3x4, and I'm like, oh god. That would be kind of hard. I would be able to make some exceptions, but yeah. Plus, I'm also just more familiar with modern anime, which is why I'm like, oh, let me do what I know.
And chat's really
then I can be confident that I'll like the shows.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, should we watch something you haven't seen either next time?
I mean, we could also do that. We could watch something I hate. That's also a possibility.
What do you mean something? Well, because you've seen it or because you just avoid the topic? Or the genre or whatever?
Yes. I mean, there's all of them. But, like, I've never, to the best of my knowledge, ever really made it far into a boy's love, for example. Then there's some very popular anime that I just don't like. Don't want to watch ReZero. Don't want to watch more of Attack on Titan. Yeah. Yuri on Ice, I've never seen.
Oh, I want to watch that.
For no good reason. Yuri on Ice is probably really good. I just never really felt like it. I feel like you need more of a shonen before watching. Maybe. Because One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, Mob Psycho, if we were going to do like something that's just very pretty. Wait, start with season 2? I like season 1 of My Hero Academia. That's so rude to season 1. Why start with season 2?
Man, chat's got. I'm good with whatever. Like, I really don't have a strong opinion here, other than I kind of like the suggestion of going movie versus show. I still like the idea of dipping our toes into different shows and watching a chunk if you think it will get to the point. I also like the idea of you experiencing equally something as new as I am in that sense, even though you'll still walk into it with more background. Trevor, I don't have that much ice skating knowledge. I know how not to fall on my ass. That's like where it lands. Just talk verbally. I'm like, this is time for Paul and chat show. I'll step away.
God, it makes me feel better to type. No, school starts in season 1. Get out of here. Like, the season 1 has the first tournament arc already. Yeah. What I'm kind of curious about is, like, we could just go into shonen because shonen is a very big part of anime. My other aspect is, like, what kind of shows do you like in media you're more familiar with? Because then we could be like, okay, let me try like something that's similar.
What is shonen exactly to?
What
is shonen?
Shonen.
Is it fighting?
The Last Airbender. I'm gonna argue with shonen. People are gonna get mad in chat, but it's totally a shonen.
So hero movie, like following a hero on their journey.
So shonen is like young boy, teenage boy. Like it's technically like an age range.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like the typical thing there is like sort of the hero's journey, but it goes on forever. It's like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, like similar to The Last Airbender. It's like, I am a kid and I'm gonna I want to become stronger and I'm gonna train and I'm gonna like develop rivals. I'm gonna make friendships and go out and adventure and see the world, etc., etc. Star Wars is shonen, as is Harry Potter. I would argue Harry Potter is probably shonen. Star Wars, I guess technically, but it's really not framed that way, which is why I would sort of disagree. Like, they don't have the shonen elements. The most shonen-y part is like the Luke-Han relationship. And besides that, I would say Star Wars isn't very shonen.
Crap, it went away.
So I mean, that sort of explains what shonen is. You didn't describe what kind of media you like normally, though.
Like what kind of?
Like, do you watch a lot of action? Do you like crime progressionals or whatever?
I like just like a good show.
Mystery? Do you like?
I will watch any.
I just like a good show.
No, like I literally will watch. Like again, I think this just comes from my background. I will sit and watch almost anything. The only things I will not watch, like by my own accord, is horror. I will not go seek out any sort of horror films. I will sometimes be in the mood for an art film. I'll be sometimes in the mood for like true crime to, I've grown a soft spot for some action. I used to actually avoid action because I don't like a lot of violence or real life violence. That's hard for me. But like I have very eclectic taste when it comes to this because I know that's not giving you a lot to go on.
You successfully said what you didn't like. What I know what you mean. I think I, like many people and yourself, would be like, oh, I'll watch something just because it's good and well produced and like the story's good,
Yeah.
etc., etc. What I define as like a genre that I like is, when will I watch something that's kind of mediocre and or subpar just because it's the kind of thing that I enjoy.
So
I
for
think that's when
me,
you're like, this is a genre.
that
So like I will watch so many bad, mediocre rom-coms just because I want to watch rom-coms. I will watch certain like power fulfillment fantasy stuff just because I'm a trash bag. Like, okay.
I would say for me that okay, so the genre, it's more franchise, right? I'll watch trash Star Wars because some of it's just hot garbage, and then franchise
Okay.
wise, I used to be more tolerant of just like trash sci-fi and space stuff, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, why waste my time on this? So I mean, it's gonna be like my guilty, like if I was searching Funimation on my own, I probably would find space in sci-fi stuff, or find what exists.
Yeah, now I'm like, what are there's so many options for sci-fi anime.
Does that help?
I mean, that's a fun avenue to go down. Because like I could just pick popular shows, but we could also be like, let's pick some good sci-fi anime, and it could be like Cowboy Bebop is like the obvious one.
I remember how
Um,
like when Adult Swim first started, I'd watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast, then I'd watch a little bit of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, then Cowboy Bebop would come on, and there was another one, and I would just be like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and turn off the TV.
did you like Firefly?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like Firefly and Cowboy Bebop are very much in the same vein,
Okay.
but also apparently you didn't like that.
I just like didn't give it a chance
No,
though.
we're not doing Darling in the Franks.
I just literally just didn't give it a chance back then.
Yeah.
And it was also on like really late in my time zone. And I think I usually wanted to go back and like go on dial up and get online at that point in the night. I think I was still on
Okay.
dial up.
Relatable, understandable. What other good sci-fi has there been? I mean, like we could do Ghost in the Shell, but that's a whole different ball game, and I'd have to research like what are the good Ghost in the Shell worth watching. But that is a good
I mean, I
show.
know the hot controversy with the movie that got released. Or at least the
Oh
one
yeah,
part.
that.
Just that it's what's her butt more than anything. It always
Sure.
looked
Yeah.
interesting.
Speaking of bad adaptations, I never actually saw it. I did watch. I think I bought the Ghost in the Shell movie. The most thing that I'm familiar with is some of the anime adaptations that I was also on Adult Swim, but like that gets into actual fun like sci-fi stuff of not like space travel, of more of like the like what if people were cyborgs and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Um, but I think you want the space travel. It sounds like you want space travel.
And well, like right, like Next Gen was the perfect like tech and philosophy, and they're in space, even though it's technically like a soap opera. It's like a drama set in space.
I'm blanking on the name, but there is a classic anime that allegedly holds up that's like the space opera anime.
Wait, Sean, are you talking about Avatar: The Last Bender? I need to finish that. I'm like midway through season 2.
Scarjo?
Look, some things happened. Namely, it was really what disrupted it was all like Akbar and stuff, and then just not getting back in a groove.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get back to that. I promise. Because it's really cute. That show actually did a really good job. First episode, like I really just did not believe the hype for that show, and it's been very pleasant.
Okay.
What?
I like not believing the hype is something I do. I was weirded out by hearing it fall out of your mouth.
There's just certain things that I've gone back and I've watched after it's just been hyped the shit up to me, and it has been rare that it's lived up to the hype, oftentimes because it happens more with movies, because when the movie comes out it's like, whoa, no one's done anything like this before, and you kind of need to see it in that moment. And then when you go back, you have to appreciate it for what it was doing versus like feeling the oomph of it. And the biggest example I can think of that is Blair Witch Project, where I didn't see it when it first came out. I don't remember why. Finally went back and watched it, and I think it was like into working, where like people were uploading videos and YouTube existed, and it was just like, okay, like this now doesn't stand out the way it did when it was first released. So Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was like, it's got two strikes going against it. One, that it's super hyped up, and then two, that it, like, even though I know some kids shows can lean very adult, obviously how I feel about Clone Wars, it still could end up feeling more kid show with some adult moments than just being like a really solid story. And it
What does
balanced.
that mean? Explain.
I mean, the easiest two comparisons I can think of is literally the two Star Wars cartoons, Rebels and Clone Wars, um, or even the new Animaniacs, which I went back and watched right on Thanksgiving. So Clone Wars was very like, they introduced this character. She was just like obnoxious and just, but like in a way that like kids love over dramatized stuff that's like way too just like tweaked up on like every level of like how it's presented. The dialogue with the character feels more serious than it is. The drama's played in a certain way, and as an adult you're just, it's like something's like too sticky sweet. And but Clone Wars eventually grew into itself, and then dialogue, circumstances, plot points all changed to be very much more adult. And I always point to that they had an entire episode about genocide, and then Cartoon Network stopped carrying it, and Netflix took the last season partially because it was too adult at that point. Rebels, another Star Wars property, never to me lost that like kid aspect to it, where it so felt like the drama was playing to appeal to 12-year-olds, like 10 to 12-year-olds, and it stayed in that lane. It didn't grow out of it. And the storytelling to me, like, it was interesting because it's lore and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but delivery was still very for like one age group. Whereas Avatar, like, it has those moments, but it's able to translate a lot better. In the same way that like I smirk and laughed at Uzaki-Chan, I do that with Avatar.
So, the reason why that was a much longer answer than I was. The reason why I brought that up specifically is I understand how, like, in American media standards, there's this distinction between like, this is a kid show, this is an adult show. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Like, there are adult anime, but like, so I said shonen. Shonen is the most common, biggest like genre kind of, and like literally means, I'm checking right now, teen males between the ages of 12 to 18. The thing you have to understand about shonen is everybody reads shonen. Like,
Sure.
adult men, like businessmen, will be on the fucking train to work and they're reading like shonen. So like, it's almost more of like the themes and age group are that, but it definitely is, it doesn't feel like it's targeted in terms of like appeal necessarily in quite the same way. I'm doing a bad job explaining it right
I mean,
now.
I feel like YA, right, as a genre has a lot of appeal. Like Harry Potter is YA. And that's what it sounds
Oh,
like.
young adult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sorry. I was
sorry,
like, what the
sorry.
hell is YA?
Young adult. Um,
I don't know about that. Maybe a little. Yeah, maybe.
there's been a
Sure.
lot of YA stuff that got produced and bought and stuff. Or I should say bought
Correct.
and then produced. Um, like I watched The Babysitter's Club on Netflix. Like that's definitely for like teen girls, but shit, I grew up reading those books and I'm gonna watch it and it was delightful.
That's not the same, but sure.
What do you mean it's not the same?
That's like saying I watched something as a kid and now they're gonna make it into a movie, so I'm gonna
yeah,
enjoy
yeah,
watching
yeah.
it.
Okay, yeah, fair point.
Like
But
that is just classic. Like, hey, I am a business exec. I need to make media appealing to children, but the parents used to watch this.
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
an
yeah.
idea.
No,
I'm gonna
I
take an
would
IP from
say,
when they were kids and make it into a movie, and we're gonna make gangbusters. Like that's just
like, I'm pretty sure Harry Potter is technically like under young adult, and that appeals to everyone.
sure.
Or like it appeals to an age range that is older than the original intended audience, and it is
Oh no, I
accepted
know.
that people read it or consume it.
There's a little bit. It's weird because I'm like, I don't agree, but also you're right at the same time. I like from the young adult fiction I've read when I was a young adult, it feels more like juvenile for some reason. But maybe that has a lot more to do with like the settings of the stories being told. Like I guess could you say Hunger Games is shonen sort of? Maybe.
That's YA.
No, I know that's my point. Like
Yeah.
I'm like maybe you're right,
But that was
I
also
hate it.
like ripped
A
from.
catfish jelly bean is.
I mean-
Also, I can hear myself, but
Oh, Hunger Games was ripped from. Fuck. What's the name of that movie? It's a Japanese movie.
oh yeah, that I know,
Yeah.
and that was probably a shonen
I did watch that in college.
battle royale, right?
Yeah, Battle Royale.
Let's actually check right now because I'm curious. Japanese action thriller. Da da da. Okay, no, it was just a screenplay. Catfish jelly bean.
You read the book, Nick? Battle
I'm
Royale.
sorry, I watched Movie Bob. I never actually watched Hunger Games, and he would always just do terrible things to her name. Okay.
Well, Kat, the director of that film, then liked Battle
Let's see,
Royale
what
so
was it?
much that he then cast one of the girls in Kill Bill. Let's bring it full circle to Kat's comment.
Wow.
Quentin Tarantino.
Okay, so I feel like we're either doing a movie or My Hero Academia or Cowboy Bebop.
You've seen My Hero
What
Academia,
does Chad
right?
think? And Cowboy Bebop, and potentially one of the two movies that we'd pick, probably.
Okay. What like every
Like, do you really want to do something that I've not seen?
every third one? Yeah, it's got to be something you haven't seen.
Why do you want to do something that I haven't seen?
Cause then, like we're like both reacting. Keep it a little spicy
Maybe
for
it's
you
for
too,
Mike, yeah.
Paul.
I mean, first of all, I enjoy rewatching anime, especially when it's anime that other people are gonna like. Second of all, the problem with doing things that I haven't seen is I've spent a lot of time watching things that are good. So by your own definition of I like to watch shows that are good, I've probably already seen it.
Okay, fair.
Like we're either having to go back to things before the 2010s. Like if we did exclusively anime before 2010, then we'd start getting into territory of like I probably haven't seen it, but like I don't know if I want to watch a lot of that stuff. Cowboy Bebop movie. No, we're not doing the movie. It doesn't make sense without having. I mean, sorry, it does make sense without having seen the show first, but it makes more sense to watch the show. No, we're not doing ReZero. And technically, I've already watched like most of the first season of ReZero. I really tried, and I've also technically watched the first season of Attack on Titan.
What is Bleach?
I like the first arc of Bleach. That was the one I talked about where like the anime took very creative liberties with the source material. No, we're not doing Welcome to the NHK. It's garbage. Man, I wish YouTube had a poll feature that you could use for live streams to vote on things.
All right. I got a lot of feedback on, well, one, I agree about discussing what the episodes were. I didn't take those notes. I meant to. And then I will spend some time, as I'm now getting more time, to look into maybe some Streamlabs, getting plugged in, some other fun stuff.
Wait, what's happening? We're still in air, right?
Yeah. There is
Okay.
feedback in Clone Wars about production.
Okay. We're just live reading. Okay. So I'm gonna doing Cowboy Bebop. Is that what the final? Is that a thing that you can actually decently access?
That's a good question. That is also part of the name of the game. Is it on Funimation? I'm only paying for so many, like... I'm gonna end up starting and stopping like 1,000 subscription, aren't I?
What, you just need Amazon, Crunchyroll, Netflix, and
I'm not paying for
Funimation.
I pay for Funimation or Crunchyroll, not both.
It's sad because it's the better one. Wait.
Well, I can cancel Funimation. Cowboy Bebop appears to be on Funimation.
Okay, so we could do that.
Oh, it came out in the late 90s. I always thought that it was from the late 80s for some reason. Oh, here we go. Language. Japanese. So curious.
Oh yeah, and are we doing subs or dubs? Because technically,
Subs.
I do like, for nostalgia reasons, the dub, but I think I've also watched it sub. I think I've watched it both.
I'll go either one. I mean, it'd be nice, like, watching it. Let's just do subs.
Okay. Oh, also let's do subs and make chat angry because a lot of them have seen the dub. Why don't you expand your mind and try watching it in the sub this time to see if it's different? It's not, but see if it's different. Man, people are getting so angsty.
Wait, so what? Wait, pull from chat. Do you do sub versus dub pending the anime, or do you definitely choose one or the other? Wait, okay.
They're doing it based on nostalgia. It's because all these people watched the show on like Adult Swim or something, and they saw it dubbed.
Nick, do you watch stuff subbed or dubbed typically? Okay, yeah, it depends. I'll test the dub sometime. Usually sub though. I love that was a topic we started on.
Okay, they're not agreeing.
And now we're rounding back
here
to
again?
it, and it's like controversial for the next one. That's real good.
I'm so conflicted.
All right, well, we can.
What do you want to do?
We're doing Cowboy Bebop, right? Here, let's
Correct.
also. How long are these episodes? Let's do a little.
I would assume they're 20 minutes. I mean, it might be slightly different. I thought it was half an hour.
They're okay. So they're half hour. So let's just do some math on mapping this out. TV14. There are 26 episodes. Are we watching the whole first season?
No.
Well, I mean in general. Or is this one we're just going to watch like the first 5?
I thought I was very clear on my stance on this. You watch the first 3 and then you make a decision.
Okay. All right, we'll watch the first 3. Although the thumbnail for number 4 looks interesting.
What's the... Oh, gosh, should I pull it up now?
I mean, I don't know. All right, so the Cowboy Bebop. Excuse me. And then we'll do the first 3, and we're going to do it subbed.
Sure.
Is that a plan? And chat can consternate about it all they want.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the episodes. Yeah, it's fine by me. It's like this one. I don't know how much my 3 rule necessarily applies. Only in so much as like.
You want a different number? Name your number.
No, 3's fine. I think it's a good thing to consistently do. I more mean that like. I guess we can wait and get into it story wise.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Sure.
All right, chat. We have spoken.
Chat is so intense.
Try one episode dubbed.
Why? What's the point of trying? Like, really, what I'd have to do is watch one episode subbed and watch one episode dubbed, and then be like, was there a difference? Besides, like, knowing which voice I liked better. And like, I could technically do that if we really want to have that showdown.
Yeah, we could do that. But for this one, I'm just gonna watch all 3 subbed and go from there. Yeah. Should we get back to our normal Friday nights?
I think so. I'm trying to remember if I'm doing something next Friday, and I want to say that I'm not. Oh, when are we filming? Can we film at like 9 o'clock?
Oh my god.
Sorry, I let a D&D session be scheduled next Friday from 5:30 to 8:30. Sean.
Yeah, we can do 9. That's fine.
Okay.
All right, we made it through 1 though. We're gonna need a different background.
Oh yeah.
So I'll work.
Oh yeah, but that'll be easy. It'll just be like space.
Yeah.
But like specific space, we can figure it out.
Yeah. All right.
I have something in mind.
All right. Perfect. All right. Thanks, chat. We wouldn't be here without you.
Space Cafe.
Goodbye, Uzaki-Chan. Maybe I'll see you again.
You'll be missed until season 2.
Sakurai, you poor soul. I get
what
why.
Do you mean?
I was gonna say
Why
I get why
is he poor?
Uzaki-Chan wants to help him,
Oh, okay.
but all right. I also feel like maybe we should get. Well, we can talk about production stuff later. We'll have a production meeting this week.
Oh boy. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
But all right. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. See ya.
Bye.
All right. I clicked end the stream.
Okay.